Hello YouTube, Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting and a Fan. So the reason why you're looking at my beautiful sarong length silk scarf and one of my personal favorite sterling silver pendants, a star ruby that is more purple than burgundy, and a tank top, is because this past weekend was a very busy weekend and I am exhausted. And I'd rather not take the time to do the things to make this video as visually appealing as possible. So I do apologize in advance for that. One of my clients who also follows my primary WordPress blog, This Is Who I Am, had suggested that I use a different background, which was a good suggestion. I actually enjoyed it because I do have this long piece of fabric that is hanging from the windows of my living room, and I must admit I cannot help but agree with her. It does look like a curtain that's falling down. When I put it up originally more than 2 years ago, it looked artistic to me with the curve, but most people don't hang up curved curtains, so yeah, and actually, oh, pardon me, so I have a lot of things going on next year, and something that I've become, that has become more interesting for me, I'm saying it right, or more important for me, that's a better way of saying it, is to dress up my home more. You know, it's funny because, you know, oh, hold on. So right now the time is approximately 12:48 a.m. We are in the witching hour, and it is now, for me anyway, Tuesday, December 8th, 2015. So, you know, I remember when I was younger, every once in a while my grandmother would be like, you know, Robert, why don't you clean your room before your friends get here? And I would always say to her, Mommy, they're not coming here for the decor, they're coming here to hang out with me. So, but I've noticed that and maybe it's an adult thing, it's like I'd like my home to be a little more clean and a little more organized before people come here. So, you know, but, you know, honestly, when I'm home, you know, when I'm engaged in a sacred solitude day or a sacred solitude period, or rather a sacred solitude sojourn, and I'm just like reading a book, meditating, praying, journal writing, or even sleeping, it's like, you know, interior design is the furthest thing from my mind. But all that being said, so as I promised in my previous video, with each successive YouTube video I'm going to acknowledge my newest subscribers. Now, for the record, and some of you may not know this, there are some subscribers that choose not to be publicly known. And according to Simple Addition, I have 2 such subscribers. I have no idea who they are. Their YouTube channel username does not show up. But these are my 3 newest YouTube subscribers, and I wanted to acknowledge them. So, Dylan Stitchomatic, which sounds badass, by the way. The Ms. NBT, because I know that's a Ms, if I'm not mistaken, and the Starseed Teneth, which I must admit, when I was writing this down, I wrote the Starseed Truth. So to the 3 of you, Dylan Stitchomatic, the Ms. NBT, and the Starseed Truth, thank you very much for honoring who I am and what I do, and thank you for being a part of my YouTube channel journey. So with that being said, the main reason I'm making this video, in spite of how exhausted I am, is I want to thank all of the people involved with this past Sunday's Oracle of Dreams at Catland Books in Brooklyn. And I finally know what section of Brooklyn that is. It's Bushwick. I have mad love for Bushwick. Bushwick is the shit. I am very thankful to those of you who spread the word, who watched the video, who shared the video, who forwarded the video, who showed up, who brought people, who made a huge difference. I must just say that this store has become very important for me. And not just because I give readings there. I really do give a shit about the people who own the store, who work in the store, who come to the store. And the fact of the matter is, and those of us that live in the New York City area know this all too well, there aren't a lot of metaphysical, magical, and mystical stores in New York City. There are a few, there are some left, but I'm 45 now, and I remember stores that used to be open, and now they're not open, and some of them don't even have websites. And I'm like, I think about these stores, and then of course there are the stores that I never even heard of until after they were closed. But they were in Manhattan, or they were in Brooklyn, or they were in both at some point. And it's like, I miss these stores. So, for those of you who live in an area that has, metaphysical stores, please go to those stores. Please keep them in business, because they make a huge difference. And they do. They provide an opportunity for people to purchase things in a spiritual environment, things that are handcrafted, things that are made with so many blessings and good intentions and beautiful magic, and patronizing those stores is important, because if you don't, then they're going to go. It is no coincidence that Catland, also known as Catland Books, is the only store of its kind in Brooklyn. Not only in the Bushwick section of Brooklyn, but in the entire borough of Brooklyn. And that's something pretty important. With that being said, over the next few videos, and specifically when I'm talking about a video that has to do with, when I'm making a video that has to do with Catland, I'm going to include a link to their, I think it's Kickstarter Indiegogo. And the reason why I'm doing that is because there are a lot of things that Catland needs to have done to make the store more visually appealing, to make the store stronger, like reinforce the physical structure. I'm somebody that was born to approximately 2.5 weeks after the winter solstice and roughly 2 nights after the new moon. So when I was born, it was both dark and cold. So when Catland gets cold, it's not an issue with me. But when Catland gets cold and people are freezing, it's it's a little bit uncomfortable for some people. It's a little bit frustrating for some people, and it certainly is a place that I want people to be able to go to and find what they need and receive, whether it's a reading or a spiritual bath or a book or a beautiful piece of jewelry or an essential oil blend or an incense or whatever else may be that helps them. So I'm definitely have a vested interest in seeing Catland prosper, and it's interesting because I was a little embarrassed to see how few people have donated to this Kickstarter Indiegogo fund. I did find out from one of the owners that more people tend to make donations for this fund, for this goal, if you will, through a special container that is set in the store. It's actually on the counter. And, but I would like to see more people contribute financially to this fund that has been specifically set up to help Catland be even better than it already is. And that means a lot to me. It really does, because again, there are so few metaphysical stores in the New York City area. I know that some of you don't even live in New York City, and that's okay. No issue with that. But there are some really great stores, and Catland is not just a metaphysical store. It is a witchy store. So, to my fellow witches and pagans and Wiccans, it makes a difference to contribute to a store that is meant for us, that is run by people that honor what we do, that celebrate who we are. And that's important for me. I don't know how it is for you, but it's important for me. And don't get me wrong, I do love, the additional 10% discount that I receive being a Barnes & Noble member. Not to mention all the coupons that I've been receiving. Because, for a while I wasn't receiving any coupons. I'm like, I received a coupon from Borders every week. And you bought out Borders. So, step it up. But I digress. Thoroughly digress. Thank you again. And I must certainly thank Brian and Melissa, who are the two new owners. They honor who I am and what I do. They certainly celebrate my existence. And I love working with them. They're just really great people with beautiful energy. And this Oracle of Dreams, I was able to spend more time with Brian, which made me feel very happy because, Brian has great energy. He's a very talented tarot reader in his own right. And he certainly really is very caring. He really is very caring when it comes to taking care of the customers and his clients, and that's something that I saw and heard and listened to and observed, and it's wonderful. And it's so funny because Brian is almost treated like a rock star. I still remember having the opportunity to spend Thanksgiving with him and several other people who are involved at Catland, in fact. And I remember it was just very natural for me to serve him a glass of sparkling cider. And when we were beginning to set up for the Oracle of Dreams, one of the employees brought Brian a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and a bagel. And I'm like, boy, everybody brings you foods and beverages. I love it. And I love that. That's a lovely prosperity gift. It's like, here's some food, here's some beverages. So yeah. So I am most thankful to Catland itself. I am most thankful to Brian and Melissa. I am most thankful to all the clients who had readings with me this past Sunday, and especially the two long-time clients. Both of them have been using my psychic services for at least 5 to 7 years. So I'm honored that they made the time, that they went to the store, and that they honored who I am and what I do there as well. So that made me very, very happy. And of course I want to thank all of you for making, and I especially want to thank those people who continually asked about Oracle of Dreams. I found out that Catland used to have a monthly tarot and astrology salon. It was not called Oracle of Dreams then. It had a different name, and I do not remember the previous name offhand. And then for whatever reason or reasons it stopped, and from what Brian told me this past Sunday, a lot of customers kept asking about it, asking when it was going to return. So I am absolutely thrilled to announce that as of this past Sunday, December 6th, 2015, Catland, also known as Catland Books, will have a monthly Oracle of Dreams, and it will always be the first Sunday of every month. So I've already set my calendar for Sunday, January 3rd, 2016, 1 to 9 p.m. And I will be doing a video about that and writing an accompanying blog post about that as well. And I am going to also make a video soon with regards to the upcoming Black Mirror Salon 3, which is on Sunday, December 20th, 2015, from 1 to 9 p.m. I have a previous engagement that evening in Manhattan, so I will only be at Catland that day from 1 to 5 p.m., which means I will miss somebody's outstanding talk on divination, or metaphysical sciences, or the tarot, or something else, metaphysical, magical, mystical, and spiritual, which will bitch me out, but I will need to get over it, because Those of you that know me know that I am a fanatic for punctuality, and I am a fanatic for keeping my word. I say I'm going to do something, I do it. If I don't do it, I need to have a damn good reason, or I need to be dead. By the way, I'm choosing the former as opposed to the latter. And I think that's it. I'm actually going to keep this video, a little bit shorter than it normally is, because, I've made some long-ass videos lately. But I did want to thank you, and certainly thank you, YouTube, for bringing me some fun and some insight and some illumination and some information and some knowledge. And I'm certainly enjoying this. I'm honestly going to keep doing this so long as it brings me peace and blessings and fun, and so long as it prospers me. And I'm going to do that with, and really I do that with everything that I do. I'm not a big, we need to have fun type of person. I'm not one of those people that's like, well, it has to be fun, otherwise no go. No, that's not really me. My thing is, if it makes me happy, if it brings me peace, if it brings me financial prosperity, and if I am fulfilled, that has to be in place for me to continue doing something, for me to continue maintaining a friendship or a relationship or any other kind of situation in my life. If it continues to bring me blessings, gifts, and miracles, I will keep doing it. And that's how I live my life. It's like it needs to, it may be something that I need to work with, or do work on, or do work to make it happen. But if it's all fulfilling and if it's all prospering, then so be it. I'm not one of those people that has to say, well, it has to be fun all the time, otherwise fuck that. No. Just, 3 planets in Capricorn. Fun is not a priority for me. Some of you may think, I can't believe Robert said that. Believe it. I have no problem doing something that may not necessarily be fun, but if it's important, if it is necessary, and if it really makes a difference in my life and in the lives of other people, then so be it. I will pursue it. I will move forward with it. The same client that made the recommendation about choosing different backgrounds, there's a phrase that she taught me earlier this year about, she used the phrase soldier on. And it was an interesting phrase because I'd never heard it before, but for some reason I resonated with it very easily and very strongly. And I remember, I have a vague recollection of a professional psychic telling me that I had a lifetime in a war. And, now that I think about it, she was correct, because one of my very first lifetimes was in Lemuria. And Lemuria was the continent that was at war against Atlantis. And I remember it was described so beautifully how Atlantis was the seed of Western civilization, and Lemuria was the seed of Eastern civilization. And I must admit, I do find myself having more of an affinity with Eastern civilization than Western civilization. And it's interesting because, my primary pantheon is the Kemetic, or the ancient Egyptian pantheon. And Egypt, not of ancient times, but of modern times, is part of a section of the world called the Middle East. So I do have this affinity with things that are Eastern. I do feel that I don't meditate enough. And when people think of Eastern philosophy, Eastern spirituality, meditation is a core tenet with regard, or rather a core practice of Eastern spirituality, or rather Eastern spirituality. And I've often said that I don't meditate enough. I feel that I need to spend more time in meditation as opposed to prayer, as opposed to journal writing, as opposed to reading a novel. And I also know that there are different kinds of meditation. There's active meditation, there's passive meditation. Nonetheless, I feel I need to spend more time engaged in in passive meditation. But that's a topic for a whole other video. So with that being said, I want to thank you, YouTube. I am thrilled that so many of you, even those of you that are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, are being a part of this journey with me, and I am enjoying it very much. It is fun, and it's certainly something that does make me happy, and I'm glad that I'm doing this. And I think some of y'all are too. But for now, I wish you a beautiful evening and a wonderful week, and I will definitely talk to you soon. Good night.